Hey guys, got about 3 minutes till starting time, but I'm here. I'm just accumulating all the stuff that is on the table here. Oh my gosh, so much stuff. Okay. Oops, wrong video. Now I'm trying to make sure that I get the right live. Sometimes I make myself crazy. Live. Let's see if I can catch myself here. So I hope everybody caught the video from yesterday where I did the background on with the alcohol inks. I did that yesterday. If you have not caught that, then that is pinned to the announcements part. So take a look at that. I'm still looking. Here we go. There we go. Okay. All right. So I see one set of little eyeballs. I love the little eyeballs it does up in the thing. I have no idea who's here, but I think it's just about time. Anyway, so hopefully you did, again, see the video yesterday where we did the alcohol inks, hopefully. If you have not, check it out. I am pinning all these videos to the announcements, and then I'm going to drop it off after it's been a week. So today when I pin this video to announcements, I will drop off last Thursdays. So you'll have up there, hi Jenny, a week at a time, which will be great. So this is the one we had last week, and I decided to cut out these pieces here. I also decided, here I am going back to my usual colors. I wanted kind of an eggplant color on this. I want to end this up doing kind of the purples and golds is what I'm going for with this. So I have mixed up some paint. This is anthraquinone. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Blue with permanent violet dark. And that gets me pretty close to a blue violet. And what I'm going to do now, I did not coat this with the gel gloss medium like I usually do. I wanted it to have a softer effect, so I'm going to try it without it. The plus is that it does get this very soft watercolor effect here. The minus to this is that because I'm using water and I didn't use an adhesive, it is, hey guys, hey Chris and Maria, it can, if I tried, pull it away from the canvas. So I'm just gonna be careful with that, and I'll let it dry again, and then when I'm all finished, I'll varnish it, and hopefully I shouldn't have any problem with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wet everything down. Water is my friend. I use water so much because it is what allows me to blend my colors so well. So I'm just going to paint this on. And then I can give it another little squirt just to make sure it gets into all those little areas. I added some more blue to what I had earlier to make it more of a blue violet. It was going a little purple for me. This is why I have so many pieces in progress all the time, because I saturate my canvases. They get wet. And after they reach a certain point, you gotta stop and let them dry. So I have tons of pieces in progress because of that, and also because I am so freaking ADD. It is not even funny. I get bored really easily, and there are times when when I feel like working on paint. Sometimes I want to paint, sometimes I don't want to paint, sometimes I just want to do textures. That's probably my favorite thing to do, is to create texture. So I have tons of canvases that are just textured with no paint on them because, you know, after I did the texture, I was ready to do something else, and I just haven't gotten in the mood to go back to it yet. So they're all piled on shelves. They're all over my tables in the studio. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6, 7. I have 7 large 6-foot tables set up in this studio, and every single one of them is covered with stuff that's in progress. That's just the way I roll. I love this color. You obviously know, I mean, you've seen my work, so you know how much I love blue violet. It is by far my favorite color to use. I'm not much on just purple by itself, or even blue by itself, but blue violet is just, it's just something special. I love it. Make sure you get the sides here. Yeah, this is getting on the canvas itself. I don't care. You know how many layers I do, so it's going to get covered up eventually. Now, this is diluted golden paint that I'm using. It is not watercolor, even though I have watered it down tremendously. The plus here is it's not going to reactivate. It will stay this color till I put something else on top of it, which I will do soon, I'm sure. Okay. Making sure I get everything, so turn it around. I don't care if there's a little white left in there. Now see, that's starting to move around right there. I'm going to have to be careful that I don't totally pull that off the canvas, because I don't want to lose these folds that I have going on here. So this is an experiment. I have not tried this without the either varnish or gel medium, and of the two, I prefer the soft gel gloss medium is what I normally use. I have found that gives the effect that I'm looking for better than anything else. You want to make sure you get in all the little nooks and crannies and crevices here. Or try. Okay, we still got this piece over here. See how that's, as I wet it down, it's turning back more into fabric and less like something hard. Now, I'm delving into PowerTex. I have never used PowerTex before. I think that could be something that really works well for my style. I don't know. I'm gonna try it. I am gonna see what it's like. I have another canvas that I actually did a piece of I guess it was linen, because the PowerTex works really well on natural fibers. And I'm going to see, without using the gel gloss on top of that PowerTex, how well is that going to show my paint? How well is it going to accept these layers that I am doing here? Okay. I'll go ahead and put some on here. Now you can see that this is starting to curl down here. I will mess around with that later. I'll put a coat of paint on the back and kind of push that back into place. We shall see. Love this color so much. So again, I'm just going to go with the, I'm going with the blue violet and gold, I think. I say that. So we'll see what happens. Okay, at this point, all I can do is let it dry because everything's saturated and it's not going to do much of anything. I can't do much of anything until it's dry. Okay, we go back to these canvases that started last week, and I haven't done anything with them. As I said, I was going to wait. It has been very difficult to hold out and wait on this. And I decided for these that I'm going to get outside my box a little bit and do these in a color scheme that I normally don't do, that I don't really care for. I am not a green, here I am, wear a green shirt. I'm not into greens. I don't really, unless it's a blue-green along that line, but I'm not really into greens unless they're on a tree or plants. But I'm going to do this canvas, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do greens, blue greens, and then for highlights on it, just for accents, I'm going to pull in a red violet. So let's start with this back one here. Now I have on here some crackle paste. It's very faint. There's just a little bit of paste on here. I have, as you can see, I glued all this on here, and I did go back over this side, so hopefully there won't be much cupping going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this. And I also, oh wait a minute, I also have this paint here. This is quinacridone Nicolazo Gold and a little bit of violet oxide. I may use a little bit of this in with to kind of tone down those greens a little bit. I've got my liquid watercolors. These are the ones I'll use that are from Blick, and I love them. They are super concentrated, which suits me just fine since I squirt the hell out of everything anyway. This, you know, it's got a high concentration of color in there. And it's my base coat. I usually don't have watercolors as my top coat. So I'm going to try this. I don't know. All bets are off with this one. We'll see what happens. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and squirt down my canvas again. I like to have my canvas at least damp before I start. See, I'm just so not into the green. This is just against everything. I just don't, I do not like it. I don't like the color. I don't know why. I feel kind of the same way about yellows and oranges. I am so into the purples, pinks, blues. Those are just my thing. But, you know, if you don't get out of your box sometime, you'll never find out what else is waiting for you out there. So I'm going to give it a shot. Another thing here, I have to be careful. I've got crackle paste going on. I don't want to get the crackle paste so damp that it's going to fall off. So that's another reason for doing layers. A little bit at a time. Let them dry. Sometimes if you get it really saturated, you may have to wait and finish it and start the next layer in the, you know, overnight. You may have to wait till the next day. Don't have a plan. I mean, other than this is all. I just play. That's how I work. I like to work intuitively. I like to see what things happen when you combine paint, when you combine textures. Okay, that's about all of that color I can stand right now. I think I'm going to pull in just a tatty bit of this. Okay, it's got enough of that Nicolazo Gold in there. Tone it down just a little bit. Bring it into these crackles here at the bottom. I've barely got any, my brush is wet and I'm not picking up a whole lot of the pigment with it. I do like the way that's toning it down. That makes it much more palatable to me. I don't want to just paint it solid. I like areas that are deeper and darker than other areas. With me, nothing's written in stone, ever. There's no telling how it may end up. I love these crackles at the side, but those are actually going to be covered up when we put that other canvas on top. Now, let's see. My thought, okay, what am I going to do? What about in here? That's about all of the brown that I can take in that one. I also have my turquoise here. So I think what I may do is do this cheesecloth here, maybe in turquoise, and let that kind of bleed in to the other. Maybe. We'll see. Shaky. Kind of gets a little sediment in there every now and then, so. Okay, let's see. Oh, now we're getting in my happy place here. We need to get to some turquoise going on here. It would be much easier if I poured this in a little container, but you know, that would have required forethought, and that's just, yeah. Let's see how pretty that's going there. I like that. And bring it down a little, let that bleed into the crackles a bit. I'm really anxious to see what you guys do with the things that you're seeing me do. I would love to see some of your work posted on Juju's. See how you're taking these tidbits. I love that. I love the way it's shadows on the edge there, giving it some more depth. That's pretty cool. See that, how it accents the side? Ooh, I like that. Sometimes it's just the addition of one thing that makes the magic start to happen. But I love turquoise, and for me, turquoise is always magical. You see how cool that is? That's really neat. I love that. Just kind of running my brush around the edges here. Rather than spraying it more, I can dip. I've got water over here to the side. I can just dip my brush into the water, pick up some water in my brush, and kind of bring that in there a little bit more. Okay, this is definitely making me happy here. This is working. This will dry much lighter than what it is going on. And this is just the start. This sets the stage for the rest of the colors to come. A little water in there. I'm just lightly brushing it in. I want that. I don't want any hard lines here. The water helps it mix and move into the colors that are next to it. Sue's there. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Connie. Lourdes. Hey there, long time no see, Lourdes. It's been many years. We taught together down in outside at Kyle, just down from between San Marcos and Austin, years ago. I was a music teacher years ago. Okay, so okay, this is working. I'm liking this. I might come in here with there is an ink, a Daler Rowney ink that's called Flame Orange, and I can almost promise you that I'm going to come in with that in some of these places. In fact, let me just grab it right now, because I think it's going to be really cool. Hold on. This is really, really vibrant orange. And I'm liking the way that's kind of popping there with that brown, so I'm just going to put a little on there. Ooh, looky there. Now I can pick up some of that if I don't want that much on there. Got my paper towels right here. I can pick up some of that. I like the way that all of a sudden turned into, from this dull green thing to something that's having a little bit of interest just by that little pop there of that. So I'll probably at some point come back in with that flame orange and do some more. That is a color that I use a lot, just for this purpose, is to make some things pop. I'm going to put this out of the way. Okay, here's the top one. Whew, what shall I do? I think on this one, whereas on the bottom one, I was mostly, is that orange and watercolor, alcohol, or permanent? It is an acrylic ink, Chris. It is permanent. Okay. I think on this one, I'm going to reverse my thing. I'm going to do mostly turquoise on the top and add a little green in maybe. So, in fact, I'm going to grab a container here. It's so much easier. Okay. I save everything. I make this yogurt too good, so I save all these cups because I can't bear to throw them away. And we have no recycling here, so the recycling is like my studio because I can't bear to throw them away. Okay, pouring some of that out. You definitely want to make sure you put your lid back on when you're using this, because if you spill it, oh my God, it is an unholy mess. Okay, squirt your canvas down. You notice that I don't really care what I get on the table because, you know, whatever. That's just the way it is. I would rather worry about the art than worry about whether the table is clean or not. I don't care. This is those arch stones, and I also put some of those Michelangelo, I think that's what it was, beads, acrylic beads in there. This is some Tyvek that I put, if you haven't seen the video from last week. I love that, the way those little crystal beads go in there in between the larger arch stones. That really gives it a very neat, see if you can see that, very neat pattern in there, design. Okay. So when I come back in with my green, or also I could come back in with that flame orange, and that's going to make it green. So we'll see what happens when we kind of pop that in there. It's easy to get this saturated, and if you start pulling off texture, then it is time to stop and let it dry. You don't want to lose texture because you get impatient And trust me, I am the queen of impatience. Okay, I'm going to start over here. This end a little bit. Particularly with this crackle paste, if you get that saturated, that's going to start pulling off, and you don't want that. I have done that in the past and had to like glue back the crackle paste back on there, the pieces of it, which is a royal pain in the butt. You do not want to get to that point. You guys all know that everybody here, I hope, is a member of Gallery 1111. I always want to stop at 3. Pollinator Project, which is a really cool group that I belong to, and it's a we do art sales every 3 months, but it's also a wonderful place to learn about pollinators and nature and all sorts of things. So I encourage you, if you are if you're not a member of that, to join it. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's do something different. How about, well, let's try this. What the heck? Okay. And I get it everywhere, and it is acrylic. It is not watercolor. So see, there's my green coming here. But it's still got that delicious orange. To say so myself, that is really cool. A little bit more here. Just blend them in. The enemy of our enemy is hard edges. Don't want any hard edges where the paint, where it shows that you have switched colors. That's not your friend. It's not going to look good. And that's where water comes in handy, because water will keep that from happening. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to use some more turquoise on here and then come back with the orange. So I have used 2 colors, but look at all the variety that I'm getting here. Other questions are looking above me on the phone for some. The comments show up there, but they won't show up on my iPad for some reason. Bizarre. Okay, so let me get the other ones so you can see them together. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I've used the same colors in different concentrations, and this is what they look like together. Far from being finished, but we're together. Okay, let's just set those aside somewhere where you won't get yourself covered. And let's talk a minute about backgrounds. I'm doing this, see how dirty my rag is, just to keep it from getting on what I'm about to put down. Okay. This is the one I showed the other day, that I talked about with the alcohol inks. It's beautiful. But here's the thing, when you put it, these are costly at Cheap Joe's for the gesso board, the 12 by 12 gesso board panel, just the panel is about $10.50 a piece. Well, that's awfully expensive for a background that is really not going to be seen a whole lot. So I got to thinking, what can I do? What's an alternative? So I ordered from Amazon. These are 12 by 12 panel of birchwood, very thin. Okay. And each one of these will cost me about $3.50. So $7 less than what we're talking about with the other one. So I thought, but these are absorbent. How am I going to keep this? How am I going to do alcohol inks on there? So what I did was I went ahead and I painted this side. And I have all these things like this. This is a transparency. I have tons of those left over from school that I was just trying out combinations of alcohol ink on. So it occurred to me that, hey, I could, for instance, if I had some that only had a few patterns, where's that first one? Hold on. Say this purple one here. There's only a few places that are open. I only have 3 openings here. So to put it with this is a total waste of 75% of that piece of that gesso board here. Okay, I've got a board under there. I've got white paint on it. Why can't I do some things on the transparencies and just cut them out and put them where I need them? And I'm not wasting, I wouldn't even use this entire sheet. I just use a part of it. And this was so much cheaper. And transparencies, oh my God, transparency, you can still get them online, or if you've got a teacher friend and once they get back into the classrooms, I mean, in our district of Fort Worth ISD, they were like free. They just wanted to get rid of them because nobody used them anymore, but they're great for stuff like this. But you can buy them, and I doubt they're expensive to buy. Anyway, you can just piecemeal. Also, you could use, I have stuff here. This is my drawers of just stuff. I also have like pieces of Yupo. And that is a white or kind of semi-opaque material there, and I could take pieces of that and cut them out and put them on here. And I wouldn't waste the entire gesso board on just 3 pieces. So I'm going to give that a shot. I think that's the way to go. We shall see. And let's see. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I am working on. I decided I have not touched batik in a while. And I have stacks of it. I have a whole bag full of batik that I have made. So I decided to start a canvas with batik again. So this is, I've just got the first coat of texture on here. This is the light molding paste with the almond flour that I used because it has that little texture in it. I didn't want to use that for the entire thing, so I just got that, put it outside, let it dry, did it this morning. And I'm going to come back in probably with some crackle paste or something different in these areas. And what I did, and you can do this, it doesn't have to be handmade batik, although if you're an artist, I mean, having something that's completely unique and totally made by you, that's a plus for sure. But you could use a fabric, a ready-made fabric. And what I do is I put it down with the soft gel gloss, and I just put my pieces down on the canvas, and then I used my palette knife and smoothed over the pieces and let them dry. And then I came back with a a varnish, a gloss varnish, and I varnished them. Now this is these orange pieces down here. This was like the Liquitex varnish that I use for most of my finished stuff. Here, these little pieces here, I had for some reason, I had actually tried a polyurethane on those, and I really like that. So it really gives it a gloss. And the reason I did that is so that when you paint, and you paint around these, your paint, when it gets onto your batik or your fabric, it helps cut down on the bleeding of the paint into the fabric. You still have to be careful. It will still bleed, or what do they call it? It'll soak it up into the fabric, but wick, that's the word. It'll wick it into the fabric. So you still have to be careful, but much less so. So that's, and then I'm going to put flowers, do my Wild and Crazy Flowers on this one. Another one started. Here's something else I'm working on. This was just a canvas that I just keep putzing around with. I just really do. I just got everything on there. It started out, and I put like a newsprint, old newspapers and stuff on here, and went over it with the gloss medium, and then I decoupaged some stuff on there. I did some paint on there with alcohol, dropping it on there, and made textures. I've got some, there's some napkins, the thin part of the napkins. And then I do have this Powertex, it's the rusty stuff. And I decided to try it. So I grabbed some crap, for lack of a better word. I always have crap everywhere. So these are just black, painted in black, glued them on there, mixed up my mixture. You mix the Powertex with that universal medium, the stuff that hardens the fabric. Mix some of that in with this rusty powder, and then just squirt the heck out of it with a mixture of half and half vinegar and water. And then I sprinkled some of the teeny tiny beads and the bigger beads on there, and I'm letting that dry. It's still drying a little bit. It'll probably continue to work until tomorrow. And I found these, because I don't throw anything away, I found these frames, and I thought, oh, maybe I could, I don't know, paint these maybe with the turquoise, or I don't know, with a turquoise background, and then do just a little of the Rasputina on top of them. And I'm sure I will do flowers of some sort, but I will limit my palette to probably the turquoises and the rusty colors there. So I have no idea where this is going or how it's going to turn out, but that is in progress, as is everything else. And here is the guts I was talking about last week when I used that insulation foam. And I used it on there, and I squirted in it, and it looked seriously like pulled out intestines. It was pretty gross. So I've taken it a long way since then. Layers and layers and layers of on here. It has both the primary elements, the powder, the pigment powder on here, and it has it has acrylics on it, it has everything. And I did go back through and I did varnish this with the Liquitex varnish, just to set all the primary elements on there so they wouldn't run anymore. And then I've gone through and I have added amethyst in here. Those are all pieces of amethyst. And the next addition will be the flowers that will be put in different spots in here. So by the time this is finished, it's not going to bear any resemblance whatsoever to guts. And it's I notice I'm looking on my phone, and the color in real life is much more subtle than it is on my phone. It's not nearly as dark. So anyway, guys, that's what I've been doing. So you'll probably see me in and out between now and next Thursday. In fact, next Wednesday, I think I'm going to do a live stream at Looney's Audacious Art Shows. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing on there yet, but I'm going to be doing over at Looney's, and that show will be coming up in towards the end of September. So I've got Gallery 1111 is coming up in not this weekend, but the weekend after, and then Looney's will be the month after that. So lots going on here. Would love for you to be at both shows just to share the love and give us some likes and hearts and shares and comments, and that helps all of us artists sell our work. And in this time when we can't get out to shows and we can't get to workshops and anything, that's an income that most of us have lost. So it really helps when you comment on these videos, when you do anything like that. It really helps it get out there, and it really helps me personally. So I appreciate it, and I will return the favor. Anyway, so I'll see you sometime soon, I'm sure. Have a good one. Bye.